You and I were on the sideline at Boston College.
Yeah.
Kent State's playing, and he's standing next to me. He's a small college quarterback, whatever. And he's like, yeah, man, Wes Welker ain't shit. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm faster. I'm stronger. I can do that. I'm like, it's a cocky little quarterback right here, dude. Good for him.
Today, we have an unbelievably special guest.
How about this, Doug Flutie?
We got Doug Flutie.
Said he was too smart to play in the NFL.
Talking war stories, talking games, ultimately talking about the goddamn Hail Mary. 35 years from your game, and we're still talking about this game. You say Hail Mary, everyone always brings up this game. That's how important and crazy this game is.
The two defenders go up, and everybody just fall to the ground. And I see an official's arm. I'm like, you got to be fucking
How does it feel to have probably the most iconic play in college football history? Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. Welcome to Games with Names. I'm Julian Edelman. They're Jack and Kyler, and we are on a mission to find the greatest game of all time. We're coming to you from Boston.
Nut House, baby, the OG.
The original Nut House.
Nut House East.
Nut House East over here in...
An undisclosed
Boston location.
Undisclosed Boston location. The boys are back in town.
Let's go.
And on today's episode, we are covering the Hail Flutie game, Boston College versus Miami from 1984 with Boston College legend, Heisman Trophy winner, and one of my heroes, my childhood heroes, and college football and Canadian football Hall of Famer, Doug Flutie.
Dude.
Flutie Flakes himself.
Flutie Flakes.
This is a great one.
This is a great episode. We get into talking about one of the greatest plays in college football, how your life changes after winning a Heisman, and the origin of the drop kick. We all remember it when he was a Patriot. And then we wrap it up by ranking the best Hail Marys of all time. So many historic Hail Marys to go over. Some crazy ones. That was a fun one.
Wild one. One of the, greatest plays in football, baby. The Hail Mary.
Yeah. But before we get to Doug, how about the Brady event at Gillette? What a night.
Red carpet boys?
Red carpet boys.
Oh, my goodness.
Jackie was on flow.
Dude, he was Drake May recognizing Jack.
Hey,
Drake May came up to
Davidson
Jack.
guys, baby. We stick together.
Yeah, no, I think he's
a star.
you're a
Talking
star,
old
Bubs.
Davidson basketball camp stories, chopping it up. He said he wants to come on the pod at some point.
Does he have any? We gotta have some games. I love my guy. We gotta have North Carolina.
Maybe some Mac Brown Carolina games. Although all the Carolina games that come to mind with Drake May is like Carolina puts up like 50 points and somehow at the end they lose.
This is what we should
do. They
do.
lose 52-50. The defense can't stop a nosebleed.
This is what we should do. We want Drake May on so bad because we're excited for him and his start. We need people to go and comment what Drake game,
Tar Heel
game, Tar Heel or whatever. Maybe a practice. I don't know. Just something. We need to have something for us to do and talk to Drake May.
We love the Drake.
We love the Drake.
And what a night. Kyler's over here getting recognized by Scott Pioli.
Scott
but he just
Pioli.
football guy himself.
But he was just like, "Where's Jack?"
No, get real.
So, yeah, we're going to get Scott Pioli on here.
Also, Jules was getting a little saucy and heckling Brady's speech. I don't know if the microphone's picked
You
that
got to
up.
chirp it when you're out there.
I was like fully into the show. I was eyeballs to the show the whole time, like crying and stuff.
It was, the standing ovation and the reception that you guys got. It was overwhelming. It was surreal.
The Randy Moss
Standing
It was something else, man. I felt that thing in my bones.
It was a fun night.
Talk about emotional.
We haven't got to see each other all like in one area in a long time. It just, we didn't even really get to see each other that much, because it was the show. So you didn't really get to chop it up with everyone.
It was wild. I was honored just to be there with you. Table 29. Shout out LeGarrette Blunt, the LeGarrette Blunt table.
We were the fun table.
We were having fun. That versus the roast. What would you say?
This was
difference?
fun. This was more fun because it was more our guys.
Right.
More of the guys there.
Homecoming feel kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And who's
You
a
know-
bigger star, Jay-Z or Ben Affleck?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's a tough one. I will say, no shade to Ben. We love you, Ben. Hope everything's going okay with the family and J-Lo. We want it to work. But Jay-Z did put on a better performance.
Jay's, I mean, and then 2 seconds later, you just hear a helicopter leave. I wonder if that was him.
Oh, and
See ya.
Bill Burr killed too.
Bill
Bill-
Burr, awesome.
Killed
Dude, that's a hard fucking
Killed
room. He killed it.
Yeah, but it's a hard room for people that aren't from Boston. That
Yeah.
guy is Mr. Boston.
He, I mean,
So,
he was
like,
on
he was the
fire.
right guy to have for it.
Yeah.
And we had Dola there with us, man.
Dolomite, Gronk,
killed
Camille.
It. Gronk, Camille.
It was a fun night.
Zandro,
Nico
we'll redact
Kulavidi.
that.
We got to get Nico on.
Nico, Mr. the Lavancier. Legendary, bro.
Nikovic, Slate, Mayo came in. Everyone was there. It was
Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi. He kind of called me out, said, "Hey," he's like, "Hey, I thought we were supposed to do your podcast." I looked at him. I go, "John, you and I both know if we come 45 minutes early to do the podcast here in Foxborough, that it just 30 people would be coming in trying to get an autograph from you. Everyone would be talking. I want you in our environment." And he understood.
He did? Okay, good.
He understood.
Because we were trying our hardest to make that thing work.
Yeah.
We were trying.
Ugh.
It wouldn't have been right.
He deserves the full treatment, focus, not just stealing 30 minutes in
Yeah.
Gillette Stadium while everything's crazy.
And he's got a great rosé coming out.
Oh, my God. We got...
There was talk of maybe going to the Hamptons, but I don't know.
Hey.
We'll see.
Any excuse to go to the Hamptons and drink rosé with the Bon Jovi's family, like, sign
the
me up.
Bon Jo-
The Bon Jovis, as I think their real name is. Legend, bro. And freaking, I don't care if we're talking Philadelphia Soul football. I
He
don't care
was
if we're
the owner.
talking Soul, baby.
He was
Do a
the
game
owner.
of Soul game.
I wonder if he would, because he was an early Giants fan, right? And then he became a Patriots fan.
Yeah.
I bet he'd want to do a Pats game, but it'd be fun to do an early Giants game.
Sipping rosé, sitting on the back porch in the Hamptons sounds all right to me. Talking some ball. Hanging with Richie Sambora. Heck yeah, man. Bon Jovi. Get Angie out there. Angie would be pissed.
No,
bro.
Angie
She'd
will
be
be in
pissed if-
trouble.
Yeah. My mom loves Bon Jovi.
She loves Bon Jovi, bro.
All right, let's get
Okay, let's go.
We can talk all day.
November 23rd, 1984. The Orange Bowl, Miami, Florida.
Boston College trails Miami 45-41. With time winding down in the fourth quarter.
Doug Flutie drops back with that drop that he does. He doesn't really drop, he just goes backpedal very fast. He launches a prayer into the sky of Florida. This is Hail Flutie. Welcome to Games with Names, and today we have an unbelievably special guest. Unbelievably special guest. We got Doug Flutie in the Nut House in Boston, hanging out with us, talking war stories, talking games, ultimately talking about the goddamn Hail Mary.
Yes.
I think they named the actual play after this play, the Hail Mary.
After you wore the shirt.
Hey,
After you, that
we can get into the shirt. Yeah, this shirt. But when I was, so what years were you in?
at BC?
No, I'm talking about the Chargers. When
Chargers years 2000 to 2004.
yeah, I had your jersey. I went to Ross. I saw a Doug Flutie jersey. I picked that thing up. I was a little quarterback. You were my hero. Like it's unbelievable to have you in here.
Well, you had just gotten drafted. You and I were on the sideline at Boston College.
yeah,
And what's your school?
Kent State. Kent State was
Kent
coming.
State's playing, and he's standing next to me. This, he's a small college quarterback, whatever. And I knew they had drafted you. He's like, yeah, man, Wes Welker ain't shit. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm faster. I'm stronger. I can do that. I'm like, it's a cocky little quarterback right here, dude. Good for him. Like, and he went and did everything he ever talked about. But that was the first time we met, and that was, he's a man after my own heart because the small guy and go after it and do it and shoot. You did it a big way.
Get out of here, man. You literally, I watched you so much. I admired you, your ability to play the game with our height. I would say maybe 3 inches. I'm 3 centimeters taller, maybe.
Yeah, probably. I'm getting shorter by the year too.
But
I'm old.
This guy won the goddamn Heisman Trophy. Think about that. Unreal. Today we are here to talk about the Hail Flutie game, Boston College versus Miami, 1984. And we all remember this last play of the game where Doug sits back, drops back. They got people come at him. He steps up, throws the ball damn near 65 yards, and they beat the convicts. The Catholics beat the convicts.
Yeah.
And this is such a legendary game. Why this game, Doug?
We had our bowl game in our back pocket. They had their bowl game in their back pocket. It was just a bragging rights game, and Bernie Kosar was the other quarterback. And the two of us just had one of those days where I don't know. I threw for like 470, and he threw for 450, and we were, this is back before everybody threw the ball 100 times a game. And it was just one of those days. Whoever had the ball last was going to win, and they scored with 28 seconds left. So it's like they won, right? My philosophy was get near midfield and throw at the end. Really cool twist came up. 35th anniversary of the pass, right? I'm doing interviews about it and see a different camera angle. For 35 years, my tight end, who was the backup tight end at the time, was in the game because the starter had a sprained ankle. Pete Casparillo is playing tight end on the play on the backside. He's supposed to be in protection. And there was an inadvertent whistle. I go to Pete. I go, hey, they're only rushing 3. Get wide, go long down the boundary. I might roll right. I was going to roll right and launch it, right? Buy some time. Just in case. If they drift, I might peek backside and hit you down the back rail. We get in the locker room after the game. He's like, we had a shot. We had a shot. For 35 years, I hear. 35 years, I hear, we had a shot. We had a shot. I saw a different camera angle. Pete is all by him. I have a picture on my phone. Pete is all by himself at the 10-yard line on the backside when the ball's in the air. The backside corner, the guy that jumped up with Gerard went by everybody. They started backpedaling. Free safety was in a great position to make a play. Backside corner drifted over. They jump up, bump into each other. Ball goes through clean. Gerard catches it, touchdown history, right? Backside corner. The guy that was supposed to be over there is 30 yards away from his man. Pete would have been a walk-in on the backside. Wow. I threw it to the wrong guy. I called Pete right after I finally said, 35 years later, right? I called Pete. I said, hey, you were right. You were open. I got a picture of it now on my phone. He goes, yeah, but I would have dropped it.
That's crazy because last play of the game situation, which they were clearly in, we had, and Doug's talking about the guy being free, leaking out late. We used to have a play, which the last play of the game, you always have a box, like the Hail Mary, like what they ran. You have a box, you got a guy, 2 guys up top, a guy in the bottom, a guy in the middle. That's what you try to do. So a guy in the middle tries to tip it. The guys in the front and the back, they try to get deflections. But what you said was your boy who was leaked out late, we used to have a play where we'd throw everyone there, and Gronk would go. And you ever seen Varsity Blues?
Yeah.
Remember when like Billy Bob, they had that play where they're like, hey man, just kind of act like you're a little slow and get out, leak out. Well, we had a play where we put all our guys up front and Gronk had to like leak out like Billy Bob, and he goes, and then all of a sudden he flags it. Have you seen that? You know what I mean?
To the backside.
They backside it, which is kind of what that is.
Well, it was, just, what's amazing is we ran it 3 times in my career. We had to throw Hail Marys. Earlier in the year at halftime against Temple, it looks identical to the Miami pass, and Gerard catches it in a crowd on the goal line for the touchdown. We were 2 for 2 my senior year on Hail Marys. My junior year, at the end of the half against Notre Dame in a bowl game, I threw one, and Brian Brennan, he played with Cleveland. Brian's on a dead sprint to the back of the end zone. It was at the Liberty Bowl, and the field was ice. And there was a cement wall 10 feet behind the goal. Yeah, he was afraid of running into the wall. He kind of short-armed it, afraid of the wall. He slid into the wall anyway, but he dropped it. We could have been 3 for 3 in the career. It's stupid how often it happens.
Folks, you hear that? We all talk about, Aaron Rodgers and his little Hail Mary. Doug Flutie was 2 for 3 in goddamn 1 year.
Well,
1 year in the Hail Mary.
That Rodgers.
Yeah,
1 year.
Aaron Rodgers. he made it so like it was a weekly thing with Aaron, for crying out loud. He just, what made ours big was everybody hated Miami at the time.
Well,
And it was Thanksgiving weekend, and it was a large TV audience and all that. So it was little guy versus the big guy, all that stuff. So that's what made it so big.
and the Heisman Trophy winner is going out, taking a deep drop. No one expected him to do what he did. Little shuffle, throws it deep, hits his roommate. Touchdown, game over.
Tom talks about his relationship with the receivers and how everybody, you build this trust and all that. Gerard caught like 5 passes that year that weren't even thrown to him. I threw an in route. The guy gets lit up, ball bounces in the air. Gerard's so slow clearing on the post that he reaches back and catches it.
Yeah.
You overthrow a ball. Gerard's there. He dies. He just had a knack for finding the ball, and it's amazing.
Nose for the ball. Yeah. Is this the greatest game of all time?
It was a great game, even without the last pass. Like, you erase the last pass, it was a phenomenal game. So it's in a top 10. There's just so many, though. There's so many out there, though. I love the Boise State game, beating Oklahoma, and the trick plays.
So we had Adrian Peterson and Zach Zembransky,
Jared
Zabransky
on the show to talk about that game, which that was in my generation. I was in college when that was happening, so like that era was crazy. But we're 35 years from your game, and we're still talking about this game. You say Hail Mary, everyone always brings up this game. That's how important and crazy this game is.
Well, I had a podcast a couple years ago, and I had Roger Staubach on it. And a lot of people, like you said, give me the credit for the label of a Hail Mary, right? Because it was Boston College and all that stuff. Well, he threw a go route to Drew Pearson in a playoff game against Minnesota with seconds left. Looked like Drew pushed off a little bit, made the catch, goes for the touchdown to win the game. And they referred to that as a Hail Mary at the end. And that's where it was actually coined. So Roger always had a little beef with me that he did it. And yes, I give him full credit. It was Roger.
Man, Roger Staubach. I remember he came and talked to our team once. He's an impressive dude.
Oh, my God, yes.
He's just a stand-up guy. Left the league to go serve the country. You just looked and smelt like a leader when he walked in.
His entire life, the way he led it. And then afterwards, he's ridiculously successful, commercial real estate guy, all that stuff. Just everything he touched, everything he did. And I went to, events where you get around the other Cowboys that played with him. And the way they talk about him the way we all talk about Tom.
Yeah.
It just absolutely first class.
He was that guy. You see on the set here what we got?
We got a Natick High School helmet, by the way, and we got the Flutie Flakes box, the original, the red box, the original box.
We went to the school and got it.
That's from Natick High School
case.
trophy.
That's from the trophy case.
Oh, you guys are pretty good. Pretty good. That's pretty awesome.
I'm a childhood hero. I had to go. We called the damn school. We said we got to get these goddamn Flutie Flakes up here.
We got a guy on the team that played football for Natick, so he had the in for us.
Oh, my buddy Paul Galani followed me. He was a quarterback at Natick High School after me.
Yeah.
He went undefeated, 38-0, state champ. I didn't do squat. We won games. We were like 8-2, 8-3. Didn't do squat. But Paul, he'd be all about having the Natick helmet here.
Nah, it's a pleasure having you here in the Nut House. So
Boston edition.
Yes, right.
That's even better.
Boston edition.
This West Coast stuff, I don't know.
Gotta get out there. Gotta be out there, bro.
Although I do love the waves. I love the waves on the West Coast.
Waves, my guy. Flute's over here talking about
We're going to Costa Rica. I'm taking you. We're going.
Listen, we were talking about it earlier when we walk in. I'm sitting here, I think it's 2010, 11, 12 or something. I'm in the training room. I'm getting my goddamn ankle worked on. We got the local news on. We always had the local news on. Flutie talking about waves over here. There was a flood in Boston. Some river overdid something. You have the local news sitting there like covering the situation. They're like, oh, yeah, the river is over here. We have some crazy flooding. And out of nowhere, in a canoe, you see Doug Flutie just canoeing by. This was not supposed to be part of the program. It's literally just Doug Flutie. Hey, guys, how you doing? And then just keeps going while this lady's over here talking about the flood.
I was over.
You love waves, huh?
The Charles River overflowed that year, and I was over at my buddy's house. I'm like, Paul, gee, the guy was the quarterback I was just talking about. I go, let me steal your kayak real quick. I'm going out on the river. And sure enough, there was a camera crew. I don't know what, but you're right though. It's like, oh, look at you get the picture.
2010, baby.
Yeah, I mean, it was overflow. I got my Natick sweatshirt on and everything. Yeah, you're going through yards. I mean, that's like probably in somebody's backyard or front yard going through because it had flooded way up. And
God,
too funny.
how about the Brady event last night? That was pretty cool to
That
see all
was
the guys, huh?
absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I only got to spend 1 year with you guys and 1 year with Tom, and it was absolutely amazing. And to see 60,000 people show up for an enshrinement type, it's an event where you put it in a ballroom, you get a couple hundred people, you make a big deal. They did it right. They did it right for Tommy. He deserved every bit of it. The way people talk about Tom, the way I get jealous of the relationships he had because he was able to stay in one place for so long with all you guys and everyone that came through. But God, it was an amazing night. I just had my head on a swivel saying hi to old friends. It was like a class reunion for the rest of us.
Yeah.
But boy, and then Tom's speed. Tom gets up and talks. It's like this guy's an NFL quarterback, right? He played quarterback. We're all jocks, right?
Yeah.
We play ball. We paddle down rivers, surf wave, whatever we do, right? He gets up like he was a polished politician with a 30-minute speech and hit everything and was so succinct. It didn't leave anyone out. It's just amazing. He amazes me in everything he does.
What you said, politician. I saw Tom and I was like, I want to vote for him.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to end the speech with, and that's why I'm running for 2024. Yeah.
You and Gronk were chanting 4 more years at one
Yeah.
point.
Oh, were you
We're getting some chants going.
Jules was
you know.
heckling. Jules was heckling Tom's whole speech.
I would have loved.
4 more years.
Oh my God.
Oh my God! Could you imagine Tom?
Oh my God.
I'll be. You can
Honestly, I would vote for him.
oh hell yeah!
He's a genuine, like
probably
you
in the
said,
cabinet.
to have all the relationships he had, but to be able to have one thing to say to every single guy that he looked at, like he's a genuine dude.
I said it. The year I played 1 year with him, and people asked me, "What was like Tom?" And I'm like, you know what? He makes everybody in the locker room, in the training room, in the front office feel like they were the reason we won the game.
Yeah.
The guy on scout team getting taped before practice. Hey, I need a good look at it. Great job yesterday. You were amazing. We need a little more of that. You need to be, every guy. And he talked about, some of the guys talked about, there were low round draft choices coming in, trying to make a team. Oh my God, that's Tom Brady. I want to say hi type thing. And Tom knows you.
That was me.
You said it, right? You said one of those, right? But Tom knew who you were. He knew your history a little bit already. He made a point to make you feel welcomed and who you are, significant right away.
No, and that's what people don't realize. Like, I'll be out in a city and people be like, "Oh, what's Brady like? This, that. I fucking hate this guy." I'm like, I'm telling you right now, if you met him, the aura that he brings in and he's a sweet man. He's just a sweet guy. He's like there's nothing else you can say. He's a genuine person.
Yes, he is.
And you see it because of his family and what he grew up in. His mom is such a sweetheart. His dad, like they're crying every 2 minutes during this whole ceremony, rightfully so. It was a great night. It was unbelievable.
And I played till I was 43, right? My last couple of years, it was a grind. It's like maybe because I wasn't the starter, I was in the point where I'm definitely the backup and I'm just thinking, I don't know. But it was hard to get motivated every day to watch film and to prep and all that. You did it, but it just wasn't the same. Tom left here, goes to Tampa, wins another Super Bowl, had another great year after that. And how at that age, at that point, playing for 20-something years, you continue to have that drive on a daily basis to keep getting better. And Tom did that, he was already Tom Brady when I went to, Super Bowls and all that before I got to New England that year with him. And he's watching film of practice, of watching himself throw the ball and how he's going to get better. And after practice, how he's going to get better. I'm like, it was just impressive on a daily basis. And to do it as long and still have that passion at the very end was absolutely amazing.
It was. And what people don't realize, I was in that same boat where he was already Tom motherfucking Brady when I got there. He wasn't Tom Brady yet. He wasn't Tom Brady. He was Tom MF Brady. We're 3 Super Bowls. He had the supermodel wife. He had all the success, all the accolades. But if you were to walk into an offensive room or you walk into a practice and you watch Tom, he's the guy that's working the hardest, and he always practiced with a purpose. It was never just like, let's get through the motions, let's just go flop it out there, let's throw a couple in cuts, let's throw a couple out. It was like he was so focused on every day that he did something. I mean, I think we won a Super Bowl. We're going back to play another one 2 years later, and I think it's week 14. He's got Tom House. In week 11, week 12, he flies out his quarterback coach. This guy who already has 4 Super Bowls, who already is Tom Brady. He flies out a quarterback coach in week 11 to work after practice with a guy just to tighten up his fundamentals a little.
Yeah, if he felt like something wasn't, he wasn't as accurate. He missed a throw the week before, right? He misses a throw. And his quarterback guru's out on a plane the next day. Fix me. We played golf. Tom, the group of us, and Tom Fish was his guru with the golf, teaching him. He had a new swing, and Tom was like shooting par golf, hitting the ball like a pro. Even par after 16 holes. On 17, he mishits a drive, winds up with a double bogey. 18, I think he either bogeyed. He mishit his drive again on 18. He called on the 18th green. He called Fish to meet him on the driving range. As he walked off the 18th green, he goes over to the driving range, starts working on his swing because he mishit 2 balls. And that's Tom. That's who he was, or who he is.
Is that mentality are you born with it, or do you develop that, or is it a combination of 2?
I think, yeah, it's
inside.
In your
it's
DNA.
in. I tell you, we all need something that motivates us on a daily basis to get better every day. I always had a chip on my shoulder about the height thing, right? People telling me I couldn't do this, couldn't do that, and I remember a quote from Steve Grogan saying, they asked him, why is Doug still playing at 43? Because he's still trying to prove people wrong, and that's Tommy not being drafted high. I think stuck in his craw forever. I mean, he was already the way he was, but that's why he played as long as he did, I think. He wanted to shove it down their throat just on a daily basis. There's got to be something in the back of your mind that's driving you every day.
100%. And also, I believe Belichick with his Jedi mind tricks and the way he put them on the table in front of everyone. Like, I just watched an interview, Tom talking, 3 weeks ago, what did he say? He goes, I needed to be pissed off to play my best football. And what did Bill do every fucking day? Pissed him off. Okay. Hey, Tom, what the hell is this?
What the hell, man? What are you trying to just give him the ball. You're hitting them right now. What do you do? Yeah, Bill had that sarcastic way. He came on a Wednesday morning meeting.
Oh.
And you better have watched film. And you better have already looked at your scouting report and been ready.
You got
he
it.
Started firing.
Question Wednesdays, you better get it right. Now, being a Natick guy, how was it playing for the Pats? With your whole journey, I mean, you went to the USFL, then you go to Canada, you get to come home. I mean, you played for San Diego, you played for Buffalo, but to come home and play for the Pats, what was that like?
That was really cool. I played with the Pats in the late 80s for 3.5 seasons.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a cool. Yes, it was great having hometown fans, people loving it. It was also a headache.
Was a hassle.
It was also a headache because if I wasn't the starter, like in the late 80s when Tony Eason and Grogan were there, if I wasn't the starter, I was a headache to have because every time there was an incompletion or an interception, they start chanting my name. They want me in the game, blah, blah, blah. And every time I did get on the field, good things did happen, but it created a little bit of an issue. Funny story. In the 80s, I would drive from Natick to Foxborough, and I'd stop at the McDonald's on 109 going through, is it Millis? I think it's Millis. And get my hotcakes and sausage and head to the stadium, right? And there was this woman that worked at McDonald's, and this is in the late 80s. I re-sign in 05. Come back from 1 year. I'm driving from Natick to Foxborough.
Same lady.
I stop at the same McDonald's. The same lady's working the window 18 years later.
I mean, you can't make it up.
She goes, I knew you would be coming by the time that they signed you. I knew you would be coming. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Man, that had to be such a crazy dream. I mean, for me, I grew up in the Bay, and I grew up a Niners fan, and I had the actual opportunity. I was going to sign with San Francisco potentially in 2014. I was on a visit with the Niners. They offered me a way better contract, Bill, you fucking asshole. No, well, Bill's over here. I also gotta say this. Bill's over here. I'm like, yo, Bill, you gonna come on my goddamn podcast? He goes, how much you gonna pay me? I go, I'm gonna pay you the goddamn amount of money you didn't pay me when I signed 4 contracts with you. That's the amount of money I'm paying you.
Give you that rookie
We'll
deal.
give him the rookie deal.
We'll give him the rookie deal.
You gotta prove
League
it.
minimum.
Yeah.
You gotta prove it. I forgot my train of thought, Bill. You just fucked me up.
San
49ers.
Francisco.
49ers, yeah. So I'm sitting there, and just like Flute said, if I were to sign back with the Niners, the amount of headaches you're going to have to deal with.
Oh, think
Like
about
just
tickets.
your tickets.
Oh my god.
Fans, friends, family, everyone's come out of the woodworks. That just had to be such a cool experience.
It was fun to play at home and all that. And the ticket thing, you know, you line up. In the beginning, I bought them all and put them at will call, and then half the guys wouldn't show up because they just assume you're getting them for free anyway,
yeah.
right? So like, nasty weather, I'll watch it at home or whatever. And meanwhile, you paid for all these tickets, but it was cool to play in front of your friends and family and all that stuff. But you know, you relaxed on the road. You got on the road, you got the extra nap in. You slept on a Saturday a little bit.
Some of your best sleep came on that bus ride in that plane.
Yeah.
All the prep. Now, you're driving on 190, going get your hot cakes in the morning at the McDonald's. Can you walk us through the drop kick? You're here in Foxborough.
Yes.
You're in Foxborough, your hometown area, and you're getting to do something that hadn't been done since we don't even know.
There's a whole drop kicks. Actually, I took a picture last night with Matt Castle, Tim Dwight, and Lonnie Paxson, and Cass threw the touchdown to Tim as I was talking to Bill about doing it. And I'm like, are you serious yet? And I ran out on the field, and Lonnie was the long snapper. So it was a cool little picture of the guys that made it all happen. Chris Berman was the guy at practice on a Friday talking to Bill, whispering in his ear, you know, Flutie can drive. He'd seen him messing around during pre-games and stuff. He's like, hey, and Berman knew the history of it. It hadn't been done since 1941. So he went to Bill. Bill calls me in the now I'm 43 years old. I'm doing jack for the team. All right, I'm hanging out with pom-poms cheering for Tommy that's win a Super Bowl. I'm thinking I'm getting cut. I don't know. Yeah, I'm walking into Bill's office. What do you want? And Berman's standing behind him, just beaming with his arms. Bill's like, can you drop kick? I go, I can do it. You know, I don't know. Is it legal? I go, yeah, it's still legal. He goes, well, work on it. We're going to do it tomorrow in practice. So that was the beginning of it. We were going to do it on a Monday night against the Jets. I got in the game. We drove down. We were going to do it as a field goal. And we stalled out around the 35 or something. It was going to be a 40-something yard. We didn't do it. Forgot about it for 2 weeks. I'm on the sideline standing next to Bill, and we're on the 5-yard line in the middle of a play. Bill sees me there. He's like, hey, we score here. You kick it. We were before he finished the sentence, we were in the end zone. I ripped the jacket off, go out, blah, blah, blah. I go, you serious? I took a ball out of an equipment guy's hand, and I did a little punch into the stands. I'm going to pull a muscle. I'm going to strain. I'm in the huddle trying to do the old man stretch, all that. Yeah, it's 20 degrees out. I got a jacket.
You're 43.
I'm 100 years old. And we get out there, and all the guys, like, they'd already won Super Bowls, right? This is the Patriots. These are the guys. They were acting like a bunch of little kids at Christmas. They were fired up about this, right? Bam, I think Bam Childress was there. Bam was he just got activated for this game. He's at wide receiver. He's out there. Sam Madison's like, you're running a fade, aren't you? He said, no, check it. You know, watch the slant, watch the slant. Pam's like, no, check this out. This is going to be cool. Watch this. And that's what Lonnie, like they used a timeout. So Lonnie came back, Steve O'Neill came back. We were back in the huddle. And they're like, he trailers over my nose. He's going to kick my ass, right? I'm like, just tell him what we're doing. So there are a lot of conversations going on to keep these guys from rushing it because they'll probably block it. Anyway, Lonnie snaps it. Keith doesn't beat him up. Lonnie steps through. Zach Thomas, linebacker, steps up. What the fuck was that? Lonnie looks at me. He's like, that's a drop kick, motherfucker. Hadn't been done in 64 years. And you know, it was really a cool thing. It was a cool thing for me because I didn't do squat the whole year, but hang out and cheer for Tommy. And you know, the guys got the smile about it, whatever. And then I jogged to the sideline, And I go to Bill for a very awkward. He's not a touchy-feely, very awkward hug with Bill. Well, my daughter tells me after the game, you blew off Tom Brady on national TV. Tom came out for a high five. I went right by Tommy to Bill.
You've done that too.
Lift Tommy. Hey, isn't he awkward? Isn't he awkward on the high five?
I mean,
he doesn't make eye contact.
Oh, you got to make eye contact.
You know, he just kind of puts his arm up.
I mean, you haven't lived until you walk by a Tom Brady high five. You hadn't lived until you done that.
This is Coach Belichick.
Back to the drop,
Coach
like-
right after it happened.
Like
yeah.
that's like the biggest smile I've ever seen Bill Belichick have on his face. Incredible.
Now, do you think Coach wanted to do this just because he loves football history?
He loves the history of the game. Remember, he used to talk about the Veer and his dad and all the history of what that was, option football back with Navy and all that stuff. So he loved the history of the game.
Was he giving you on every once in a while on a Friday practice? Were you guys practicing the free kick situation before half where you fair catch?
Oh yeah, all that stuff.
And you get a free kick. Like it hadn't been done since '68.
I think the Chiefs tried it at the end of a playoff.
Yours
game.
was the last successful one.
No, I'm talking about the free kick.
The free kick.
Free kick is
Sorry,
a situation where
let me look.
Before half, if it's the last, time could be going out.
the fair
but
catch.
if you fair catch, you have an opportunity to have a free kick where it's like a kickoff.
Yeah.
And you get to kick it
On a tee too, right?
Well,
no,
no, that
have
was the
to
one
hold
thing
it.
on a free
Okay.
kick. But see, a free kick, you could do a drop kick as well.
Yeah.
Now, I was with Morstead, New Orleans Saints punter. He was at SMU as a college kid just after I had done this. I retired. I went into ESPN. I started doing games and doing an SMU game. He's all fired up to meet me. And he's like, after practice, we're going to do some drop kicks. Oh, yeah. So we go. I saw him hit an 80-yard drop kick.
Jesus.
It was like shot out of it. He was an old rugby player, and he could hit this thing. There's the punters that have the strong legs hit it on the upswing, and the ball bounces off the ground a little bit, so you get more. It was like shot out of a cannon. Now the accuracy, the ball's doing this. It's hit so hard, but in a desperation situation, you could hit like a 70, 80-yard drop kick. Some of these punters.
Now, why? How come you could drop kick?
I grew up as a kid in Florida. Never wore shoes, but I learned to kick barefoot, and I never had anybody to hold for me. So I'd drop it and kick it and just kind of messed around doing it. Yeah. And then Mike Vanderjet and Mike was the kicker with Indy. Yeah, our idiot kicker, right? Our idiot kicker. He was our kicker in Toronto. And he and I would go out and pregame like hours before, messing around, have little competitions, and he could really drop kick. And when we played Indy, when I was in Buffalo, we would go out. I'd meet Mike on the field early, and we'd mess around drop kicking. And that's when Berman saw me doing it, led to Berman talking to Bill, and it happening.
So it's so crazy because I remember when I was in high school when you did the drop kick, and
I'm old, freaking dirt.
No, well, I'm old. We're old. We're not young. But I remember seeing that, and so I always used to drop kick, and so in practice we'd be dicking around. I go to Double J's, our old equipment guy, and I'd drop kick him a ball, and everyone would be like, Flutie, Flutie.
Well, Breeze and I, when I was in San Diego, I would do it all the time, I'd drop kick all the time, messing around at practice, and Drew and I would get on a line, and Breezy and I would play catch, drop kicking from 20 yards apart, keep it down the line, hit it to each other under. So Breezy tried one in a Pro Bowl. He's like, Flutes, is it okay if I do? I got to do a drop kick. It was Pro Bowl, and he tried it, and he dropped it and had a bad drive and kicked a line drive into the line of scrimmage or something. I was kind of happy it wasn't successful.
That's crazy. Now, you played from
1800s.
Now you played from 85 to 2005, 20 years. What was the biggest change you saw in the league in football or through your transition from playing in 3 different leagues? I mean, he went to the USFL the USL or USFL first, got a crazy contract, Heisman Trophy winner. Then he leaves USFL. You go to Canada, then you come back to the NFL for a bunch. Like, what was the biggest changes you saw in football in your career?
It went from, because of free agency, in the old days, guys were on a team, they were there for a while, and you built an offense. and you just generically, we'd go red, right, 64. Line up in a split back set, 60 protection, 4 route was a curled. Everybody knew their complementary route and ran their complementary route. Free agency kicked in. Guys were coming for 1 year, and you got to learn the offense. Now you had to call everything. So instead of saying red, right, 64, it was, if you want to put shifts in motion on it and things got more complicated, it was like tiff to queen left slot close, act 4, zip, act 4, 760, F shoot, sneak. You're calling everything. And then you had a second play on that too. So you alert, whatever, right? So now the wristband thing came into play. I hated that. I hated that I had a freaking radio in my head. Well, I came from Canada where we're spreading them out and slinging it all over the place. I'm calling my own plays, having a blast. To the second a play ends, you got a radio in your helmet, and your offensive coordinator's talking to you. All right, Dougie, we're looking at it's 3rd and 7. We got, blah, 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 whatever play, check this, blah, 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 blah. Alert, be alert for the weak side blitz. If they bring 2 weak, we're hot left, but whatever. Shut the hell up. I got it, right? I was at practice on Wednesday. I know what we're looking for, right? So you stop thinking, not that you stop thinking, but I went from, in Canada, calling my own plays, from, hey, how was he playing you on the backside? Hey, no, he's inside technique. We got the corner route on him. Let's go. Okay, we'll go. Let's go rebel right. Let's go smash route on the backside. You guys, we'll go 371 on the front side. Blah blah blah. And kind of thinking the play through and knowing where I wanted to put people to shut the hell up and listen. And I hated the radio in the helmet. I liked thinking on my toes. I had to be alert for down and distance and situation. And what we did in Canada, back in this early as like 92, empty sets, calling quarterback runs out of empty. If they're too high safeties, we got 5 guys blocking 4 in the box, and I'm off and running trap, or quarterback counter, whatever, and all that RPO stuff. That started with Damon Allen. Marcus Allen's younger brother was in Edmonton, and we ran all that run game out of gun. Yeah. And Damon was eyeing that backside end and pulling the ball and running naked off it if he closed down. I'm like, hey, I can do that. And then I did it, and I get 5-7 yards, and the corner someone come off on the slot, whatever, make the tackle. I'm like, screw that. You run a fade and you run it out. If he comes off, I'm throwing you the ball. And we started doing this stuff. Chip Kelly came up to Toronto. He was at UNH at the time. He came up to Toronto and watched all our film and was asking questions about this, that, and the other thing. And then he goes to UNH and just starts lighting it up. He turned it into zone read. And then he went to Oregon, and it all became the zone read stuff. But because in Canada, we didn't have reins on us. I'd say, hey, what do you want to run, Julian? What do you want to say? Oh, just give me an option route. I'll crush them. Yeah. Just give me, okay, you do that. You clear them out on the outside. You guys.
In huddle, you're calling plays.
Oh, yeah. It's like, you had your plays, but we could talk because I was calling the play.
You were also, you're Tom Brady, a goddamn of Canada football. It's a little different where, if you're the Flutes in Canada.
Now, do you think that play style, a little bit more of kind of like the Flutie magic, the running around, making plays, just, use your soul instead of using your brain, worked really well for you in Canada?
What worked in Canada, yes, you could get the CFL game. You could get away with being an athlete. I'd say, I was thinking about this. If Jules had gone to the CFL as a quarterback, he would have stayed a quarterback. It just would have been on.
BC Lions, still got a contract to this day.
Yeah, they draft.
Well, so they
got your rights.
They took my rights.
Yeah, I bet he would have gone up as a quarterback, because you could, as a quarterback in that league, get away with being an athlete and taking off and scrambling and be competitive. The difference was because the field was wider. It was wider. There was more space. It was like a joke. If you wanted to scramble, it was a joke. It's like, okay, it's on. I remember the first preseason game, we had slants or something, and I held it, and I moved to the right, went outside, and kind of turned the corner. I'm like, holy mackerel, I got 12 more yards. You kind of have a muscle memory on what it took to turn the corner and stay in bounds. And I got all kinds of space out there. So that part of it lent to my abilities, but also I was still a pocket passer. Mm-hmm. Right? I still did the mental part of the game and could pick things apart and all that. And then when things broke down, take off.
Well, and we'll get into the game, but we were watching this game and Flutes is 5'9",
And
usually when
3/4.
you're-
And 3/4.
and 3/4.
Not anymore though. I got to be. I'm under 5'9" now.
Honestly,
I haven't measured.
Everyone always says that, and I always like when people call me shorter because it's more impressive.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You know,
It's like,
it
hey,
becomes a thing. Yes, no
hey,
doubt.
I'm 5'8", okay? But regardless,
But
you watch
Dustin
that
Pedro's,
game, huh?
Dustin Pedro's 5'2" by now. Yeah.
Laser show. Shout out, Petey.
PD, love you, PD.
But you watch this game, and when you have a shorter quarterback, I was a shorter quarterback. The in-breaking route, like passing in the intermediate, it was the hardest thing. But if you watch this, I mean, I think you started with 13 for 13 or 12 for 12.
The Miami game.
And all the plays, you're stepping up in the pocket and you're hitting guys on 20-yard in cuts. You're hitting you had that vision, which was you were a pocket passer.
I had Tom Coughlin as an offensive coordinator
Yeah.
at Boston College for my first 3 years. He built my discipline, taught me to read coverage. And so I did make blind throws, but I knew where the defenders were,
Yeah.
right? I find the defender, you find that little window, and then boom, in the gap, timing-wise, here he comes, bang. That was, and you brought up in routes, and early in the game, we hit a couple with Gerard coming in on third downs. And they played a 3-deep zone, but the corner locked on with Gerard and chased his ass all the way in. And after our first third down conversion, I go to Gerard. I'm like, was that the corner on your ass? He goes, yeah, he chased me. I go, that was zone coverage. And I go, hey, next time we call that, put your foot in the ground, run a corner route.
And it was a Pocono. I saw that.
Yeah. Later in the game, 2 huge third downs in the fourth quarter, I think. Gerard put his foot in the ground, ran the corner route.
Good route.
Oh, my God. It's just like he started in, the guy was chasing, boom, took off, and we crushed. And it's amazing to me to think that I was so relaxed at that time that I saw it, that you see, it's 3 deep zone. You're thinking, I got the post in combination, I'm going to go in down to the underneath route, right? It wasn't that way. I saw that guy chasing him. Gerard saw him chasing him. I waited. Boom, he went through the corner route.
Meg. That's what they call a Meg, where they lock the guy on him. It's crazy. Did you ever consider changing positions when you left college, or did people ask you to change positions because you're a ridiculous athlete?
Not when I left college, but when I came to BC, there were 4 upperclassmen ahead of me.
Yeah.
Gerard was my roommate. He's already seeing playing time as a receiver on run situations, special teams. He's on the field. I'm not really on the field.
Yeah.
My first plays at BC were punt return. I would opening day against A&M. I'm back there fielding punts.
You like that?
But it was like I was very close to going and saying, "Hey, move me to receiver," because I thought I was a better athlete than some of the guys that were on the field. I'm like, I know I can be on the field. I'm not on the field now, and I was a step away from asking at BC to move to because they were upper. Now, none of the guys actually Matt Ryan's uncle, John Lockery, was the original starting quarterback. He tore a tendon in his thumb, and then the other 2 guys got a chance to play, didn't play well. I finally got in a game at Penn State and lit it up and was off and running.
Ain't nobody ever want to put Flute in, but when you put Flute in, you're always gonna win.
Right, baby.
That's how it goes,
Getting that
baby.
job back.
Now, let's go back in time. We have a segment where we go back in time towards the era of the game. What is that? Is that Wayne's World?
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World? Oh, my God. Yeah. So let's go around November 23rd, 1984. Number 1 movie, Supergirl.
Oh my God, no idea.
Bit of
I
a
didn't
flop.
watch it.
I haven't even
It
heard
was a
of
flop?
Flop.
I never heard of it.
No, I don't know.
$35 million budget, only made 14 mil. This was Faye Dunaway.
But it was number 1
Forgettable.
movie.
It was number
Number
one
one,
that
though.
weekend.
Yeah, it was.
Thanksgiving weekend, is that a big movie weekend?
Tough movie weekend, yeah.
Number 1 song, Wake Me Up
Before you go.
The
George
one-
Michael, Wham.
We know that one.
Yeah, Gerard loved Wham. Gerard Wham guy. He was yes. I was like Van Halen and Motley Crue, whatever. Gerard loved Wham.
John Bon Jovi?
Oh, I'm a big John. John, I've been to more Bon Jovi concerts than John has been.
You know what? I saw him yesterday.
Yeah.
I saw him yesterday, and we've developed. He's such a good looking dude.
Yeah.
Like the hair is
He's
still
the silver
going.
fox.
Still
now.
got
Yeah,
it.
now the hair's
The hair.
still.
You
Wow.
can see that smile from a mile away.
Hanging out in the
Tom was
Hamptons,
great.
living
So
life.
handsome.
Yeah.
Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street premieres.
I saw
It was a
it.
classic.
It was a classic. It was one of those, you know. That's Freddy
Yeah,
Krueger,
that's
right?
Freddy
Nightmare on
Krueger.
Elm.
Yeah.
The Terminator, Karate Kid, Ghostbusters.
The
and
original Karate Kid.
The original.
The original
Wax on,
Ghostbusters.
Wax off. Wax on.
Wax on.
Wax off. With Mr. Miyagi.
Miyagi.
By the way.
Hey, sweep the leg.
Sweet. I have Alex Guerrero from the first time I ever met him. He's in my phone as Alex Miyagi because he was like that weird, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
all those little techniques and shit. That's what I used to call him, Alex Miyagi.
Purple Rain.
Purple Rain. Man, Karate Kid, that was such a crazy cultural phenomenon.
Doug, what was life like for you in 1984?
Oh my gosh.
1984.
My senior year of college, I was football.
Leonard Skinner.
Well, I've always been.
cheerleader.
I'm a Skinner nut. Skinner nut. I'm listening back '84. I was listening to a lot of Van Halen.
Nice.
In fact, there's like a highlight reel from our senior year, and we're at the Cotton Bowl in the locker room, and I'm blaring Van Halen stuff.
Going to
Main
California or
Street.
something.
But I was a naive kid, shy. I didn't party. I didn't go out. I didn't do squat. I was just football. Then I signed with Trump in the USFL and all that at the end of my senior year. But I was once football season was over, I was a hoops junkie. Lived in the Recplex playing
Don't you
basketball.
still play
Heck
hoops?
yes.
I tried. I played on the cruise ship a couple of weeks ago with old guys. It's like we took it to the young. We lost the champion. There was a 3-on-3 tournament. So I'm 61. I got a 57-year-old and another 60-year-old on my team, and we're playing like young college kids. And we made it to the finals.
Let's go.
We made it to the finals, and then they realized to stop shooting. Like I said, guys, back off. We're on a cruise ship, right? The ship's moving, the wind's blowing. Back off. These kids are too stupid to do anything but shoot. They'll shoot the ball, and we just go inside, get some layups, and beat them. But then finally, the kids smartened up in the champion. They just went inside and like put it up until But we lost that.
Flutes, what's your b-ball game like?
I was a point guard. I was a non-shoot. Now I'm a shoot. Now I shoot the ball well. Once at 3-point line. 3-point line wasn't in play when I was in high school and college.
That's right.
So it was like if you took an outside shot, you were stupid.
Yeah.
You know, it's like don't do that. It's work until there's no shot clock and there's no 3-pointer. Let's wait till we get a good shot. I was a penetrating dish guy and all that, and had fun. In fact, at BC, I played my 4 years of football. I didn't redshirt. I signed my contract, left in the spring, came back the following fall to finish up. And Michael Adams was a starter. Mike had left to the NBA, and Gary Williams was the head coach. Gary came and asked me to play for the team because I used to play pickup with the team all the time. There's a picture of me somewhere, AP, of me walking the ball up the court. We were working out. Bill Walton had just signed with the Bill had just signed with the Celtics. A bunch of Celtics guys were at BC, and we're all playing pickup, and I'm walking up the floor with Bill Walton next to me. I had asked Trump permission to play with BC. He's like, knock yourself out, do whatever. And then he saw that picture. He's like, I can't let you do it. You get hurt. I'm out a lot of money. So I ended up not doing it.
Damn. That rocks. We're a big pro Bill Walton podcast, so hearing that was a highlight of our day there.
R.I.P. man.
R.I.P.
That was sad these last weeks.
Absolute legend, man.
You know, with Walton, I grew up in the Bay Area, so I loved the Pac-12. And then I moved out here, and there was nothing like
College sports here.
No, it was nothing like a Tuesday night at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night here, and you hear Bill Walton having a mushroom story when he's supposed to be talking about goddamn basketball, and he's talking about the goddamn Grateful Dead. Like, guy can feel the air.
Oh, nothing like it, man. Never will be again either.
In the sports world in 1984, national champions were BYU.
That bothered all of us. BYU went undefeated because they didn't play anybody, and then they played Michigan, who had like a 6-5 record. They played Michigan in the bowl game out in San Diego, and they claim a national championship. That bothered all of us.
I'd love there's Catholics versus convicts. I'd love Catholics versus Mormons.
That's some
for it.
religious warfare.
Was
shit.
quarterback
Was this
BYU.
Jim McMahon?
No, it was
No,
after
this
Jim.
When was
um,
Ty Detmer doing his?
Might have
thing?
been Ty.
Ty
This was,
Detmer.
this was Robbie Bosco, I believe.
And then
Bosco.
Very, very good.
who won the
champ.
Heisman in 1984?
Joey Bag of Donuts.
Yeah,
Joey finished second.
How the hell Doug Flutie wins the Heisman in 1984? How was that?
That was nuts. That was my junior year. I actually finished third. It was Mike Rozier, Steve Young, and then me. And so I was the front runner going into my senior year, and we had a big win early in the year against Alabama at Alabama. I was 2-0 against Bama, by the way. Just putting that out there.
See you, Saban.
Roll Tide. Not.
I was the front runner most of the year. The Hail Mary happens, and it's like, now I'm thinking, this was something that was so out of the question to me of having in the realm of possibilities of winning the Heisman. It became, honestly, what if I don't win it now? I have to have that prepared. You know, how do I answer questions about not winning it? The day of the Heisman, though, we played Holy Cross that day. It was our last regular season game. I go from there, did a quick press conference, go in a van with the family and everybody to a local airport. BC alum had a private jet waiting. We take off, go to Teterboro in Jersey. Nice. We land, put my wife and I, my girlfriend at the time, fiance, we take a helicopter ride over to the city. My parents, everybody got in limos and head over to the city. Helicopter ride, land at the heliport across the street from the Downtown Athletic Club. Get out of the helicopter. Well, first of all, we're going over. We had a little extra time. And I go, any chance we can do like a tour of the city? And the helicopter guy, he's asked permission. Hey, knock yourself out. Doug Flutie, it's his day. Go. So we do a little lap around. This is my 20, we're 21, 22 years old, my wife and I.
In a helicopter.
Going to the
Heisman Trophy.
Heisman Trophy, cruising around New York City. We land across the street. Now, I'm a kid out of it. We had no money, nothing. I'd never done anything like this. So they have a limo to drive us literally across the street. Get out of the car, go up. They had a room waiting. They had food and stuff. I had about 20 minutes to kill. And it's all set. And my wife looks at me and goes, you think they do this for everybody? You had to have won. There's no way they do this. They had no way. Because you don't know until they announce it. And that was just all very surreal. It was just a cool experience. And what's really cool now is go back every year and be around that room with the guys and the storytelling that goes on. There's a hospitality suite every weekend. And, it's just the storytelling and the guys that have been together for so many years. And the sad part is every year, somebody passes away. And they used to have the dais set up as, and they still do, but by age. And at the end, they put a helmet to represent anyone that had passed since. And it's like, once I get to the other side of this table, I'm not going anymore. It's like, no, I'm still left of the podium. I'm still on this side of the podium. Once I'm on that side, forget it. I'm not going anymore.
Oh my God.
But you know what? Next year for the Heisman, we're getting an addition. We're getting Reggie Bush back.
Reggie coming back. So is Reggie. Reggie's younger than me. That's going to bump me to the other side. That's going to bump me to the other side. Right there, Reggie.
Take that Heisman back. Take it back.
I'm done. No, I'm not going.
Man. Doug, how do you go back to campus after that?
What was really like, you fly to Heisman. Okay, that night's the TV event, and then you're there for a couple of days doing luncheons, whatever, blah blah blah, and they wear you out.
I bet.
Like I was worn out for 3 days of doing nonsense. So what I did was I wanted to be back on campus. I flew back that night and flew back to New York. Took a day before I went back to New York because it was such a whirlwind. I hated all that stuff, and that. It was really cool because one of the women that worked for NBC when I was doing broadcasting came up that she was a BC around the time I was at school. She was on campus. She said, and you don't know this stuff goes on. You don't know how people perceive you and what their attitude about you is at all. It was a really cool story of how everybody got together in their common areas to watch the presentation show and the announcement, and how you could have heard a pin drop on campus. And then when the announcement, the place exploded. Everybody's out partying and throwing, vandalizing probably. But, it's just cool stories to hear because you weren't a part of that. You didn't know that was going on.
So I heard you wanted to be back on campus. What's like the food spot you went to in
What's
Boston?
the what?
The food spot. Did you go to Pino's?
I went to Pino's. I still go to Pino's.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm near Cleveland Circle or BC, I swing by Pino's. They used to hand roll their own pepperoni. It was awesome. They don't do that anymore. Like I was very disappointed. I talked to the guy. I was like, you got to go back to the old pepperoni.
They say that's isn't that the sister restaurant of Joe's in New York?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Well, one of our partners, he always talks. We go to Pino's all the time. Get the cheesesteak there. You get the slice of pizza. I always love to hear like the college spot
Yes.
Yeah,
that you like to eat at.
That
when
for
you're-
me was Pino's. I'd always hit Pino's. There was a place called Fantastic Food Factory that was down on the backside of. It wasn't Beacon. It was on Com. It was the 24-hour food. You could go there any time of the night, morning, whatever, and everybody always. It was junk. It was horrible, but it was open, middle of the night.
Fantastic Four. All right, let's jump into this. Let's start breaking this.
Before we wrap up in 1984, just because we need to. 49ers won the Super Bowl. Dan Marino won MVP. Larry Bird won MVP. And it was Michael Jordan and Mario Lemieux's rookie season.
What a year in sports. What a year.
Oh, I got Jordan. That's
what do you got?
First of all, Bird. Bird was my generation. Like that was Larry. I still watch Larry Bird highlights on my phone.
Just
all
to
the time.
motivate you.
Always, because it was. I'm old. I can't move anymore. So if I play basketball, I better be smart. And it's like the stuff he did was so like I loved when he'd have his back to the guy, like trying to back him in. He'd reach around the guy with a two-handed pass and go like that. Pull up the guy, turn his head. He'd just sit there. And stuff that takes no athleticism, right? It was just smart.
This smart.
Anyway.
He's like he played kind of like Luka.
He just
Because Luca's like that, or Joker. These guys, where
Savvy,
they're like the
savvy.
savvy dude at the YMCA when you're watching them, like the tall, good dude at the YMCA that
just
playing with all young guys and still just roping and doping
well,
jokers.
Larry didn't get enough credit for being as athletic as he was when he was young. Because we all picture him later when his feet were bothering him, he's just shooting. But he did whatever the situation called for. And it was just a reaction to whatever was going on in front of him. Pass through Kareem's legs, just behind the back, all the stuff that he just reacted to whatever the situation was in front of him. He was great.
I was watching the one the other day where he had the Atlanta bench literally like falling over as he's torching.
Oh, yeah.
The one in New Orleans. They play that random game in New Orleans.
60-something points.
Yeah.
He's falling out of bounds 3, and the guy in his face, and it goes in, and the guys on the Atlanta bench are just cracking up on each other. Like, you got to be kidding.
What about that? There was the one game where some guy talked to him, and so he played like the whole second half and only shot with his left hand.
He went into a game saying, I'm going to just play this game left-handed. He scored 18 or 20 of his points left-handed that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just stupid stuff. Larry, my wife and I were first row balcony of the old Garden for the game where Bird steals the ball on the inbounds pass from Isaiah. And
You were there?
Hits DJ going to the hoop. Yeah, we were. It's
a Boston folklore. Of
All-time
course,
game.
Flutes was
All-time
there.
game.
I mean,
And
there's a flood, you're gonna see flutes. there's a championship game, you're gonna see flutes.
it was a fun time. It was a fun run with their championships and always watching the Red Sox, and it's unbelievable. You guys, we're just so spoiled in Boston, so spoiled.
Best sports town in the world, baby.
It is.
But my Jordan story was, it was during the NFL strike, and the Bulls were starting to practice, and we used to go play pickup ball with the Bulls. Scottie Pippen, Jordan. I used to cover Sidell Threet. He played with LA, and he was in Chicago at the time because he was the only guy that I could almost, he was only 4 or 5 inches taller than me. And that was a cool time. When Jordan would show up, like the days that Jordan wasn't there, I handled the ball, covered my guy, had a hoop or two, was comfortable. When Jordan was there, the intensity went through the roof, and I was just like, get the ball to somebody, get ready to get it out of your hand. I remember walking through the training room, and Jordan's getting taped. And I started by, he goes, "Oh, Doug, your brother had that's your brother who plays for BC?" "Yeah, yeah. He got a great game against Syracuse." My brother broke his hand and had a cast on one hand. He's a receiver.
Yeah.
And he had a couple of touchdowns, a couple of one-handed catches, all that. And Jordan saw it. And he's like, mentioned it. I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
A little different from when the first time I met him.
Mike probably won a lot of money on that game.
So we've already talked about the story's out there, but the first time I met him, we were in the Super Bowl 14, and it's him and Jeter. And I'm out to dinner. I'm taking my folks out to dinner before the Super Bowl, and I'm leaving and I see Derek Jeter and Michael Jordan, and I'm like sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, this is our show. I got to go say hi to him. You know what I mean? Jeter, most charming dude ever. Jordan didn't say a word until I was about to leave. He goes, hey, kid, I got a lot of money on you. Don't fuck it up. I mean, just Mike. I love him.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't want it any other way.
Let's talk about this Miami Hurricanes team.
Let's run through the.
These guys, they were sick.
Oh, my
we had
gosh.
no business being on that field. We had no business.
If you were to watch that game, their defense, you were carving them up.
They played zone. It's like, are you kidding me?
3 deep.
Thank you.
Like Penn State was a dream country. Penn State played they dropped the spots. You know, it was the difference in that game was we sacked Bernie, I think, twice and picked him off twice. And that was the only difference in the game. You know, we went up and down. But you couldn't tackle Eddie Brown. You couldn't tackle, Alonzo Highsmith was hurt. A guy named, oh my God, how am I drawing a blank on? He had 5 touchdowns that day, running back, but he had the day of his life.
That was Melvin Bratton, right?
Melvin Bratton.
Yep.
We couldn't tackle these guys. They were like elite. Eddie Brown, Willie Smith, Alonzo, Bernie at quarterback, defensively, you know, they were just stud athletes. And we were, my senior class, there was a coaching change at BC. We were a bunch of Ivy League kids. We were going to go to Ivy League schools. Gerard was going to go to the Naval Academy and all that. There was a coaching change at BC, and they were just scrambling and signing guys. We didn't belong on the field with that.
This is Jimmy Johnson's first year too.
Jimmy Johnson's
J.
first year. But because I always, in my mind, looking back on this game, it always feels like the full David Goliath. But like this was number 10 and number 12 ranked teams at the time, which was
So it wasn't that David and Goliath.
They were coming off a national
the national
championship
title
the year
year.
before.
We were. It's why you play the game. You know, it's like the Boise State thing against Oklahoma. I remember all the pundits that I was. Oh yeah, they won the game, but they're not as good as. And it's about winning the game, right? It's about we're making plays, doing what you have to win. We finessed people. Actually, I say that we ran the ball great. We have Boston College has always had good offensive linemen that end up going NFL. Cope was a BC guy. So actually, in the Cotton Bowl, we rushed the ball for well over 200 yards and all that. So we had Troy Strafford was our tailback that played 9 years, and 3 of our receivers played in the NFL, 2 tight ends, 4 or 5 linemen. Bill Romanowski was on defense. You know, we had players. We had the guys that develop into players.
Yeah. I loved Romanowski.
He's a
when he
scary
spit
dude.
in JJ Stokes' face.
Oh my God! What do you? It's like
That dude was crazy.
Kelvin Martin was the only real athlete on the field. he was an NFL talent athlete. He weighed 160 pounds. He was like 153 when he came in. He weighed 153 pounds when he came in as a freshman. But he was amazing.
You guys were averaging 33, almost 34 points a game.
Oh, it was at a
The
time.
Heisman Trophy winner. Of course they are.
That's right.
Well, it was at a time when we threw the ball, and not a lot of college teams were good or efficient at throwing the ball. BYU was doing it. We were doing it. Iowa had a guy, Chuck Long, who could throw the ball. And, you know, passing offense, you had that was the equalizer with teams like playing Alabama and playing whoever we played, Miami. We could throw the ball at them.
The D lines, it's tough. You can't run the ball against those big boys.
Steve Trapillo was a first-round draft choice offensive line for us. Mark McDonald played in the NFL, I think first or second. Twombly played with Denver. You go down the list, and all these guys. Well, Gerard was drafted but had a bad knee injury. My brother Darren played in the NFL for 3 years and a bunch in Canada. Kenny Bell, Steve Strahan, and Troy Strafford, all 3 running backs had careers in the NFL. It's just ridiculous.
How would you sum up this 1984 Boston College team?
We were the class that nobody wanted. So it was overachievers. It was all guys, and you guys talked about it on stage. It's you don't want to let your teammate down, trust thing and all that. That's who we were. And I always say at a college level, you can get away with that. You know, at the NFL level, you need a Randy Moss. You need a couple of those guys. But at the college level, we didn't know we weren't supposed to beat Alabama. We didn't know we weren't supposed to beat Clemson and Miami and all.
Yeah.
We weren't supposed to be on the field with those guys.
You know what? When I went to Kent State, I was playing quarterback out there. I would get so mad when we would go and play, like we played Ohio State. And a lot of these kids, they grew up in Ohio, so we lost the game before
Yes.
it even started because they were intimidated, like, oh, they made it such a thing. Yep. But to hear that your team,
we didn't know better.
You didn't care.
We were naive. Steve Strahan, who wound up playing in the NFL for a while with the Raiders. Steve, we go to Clemson to play Clemson. Clemson was the defending national champion.
Yeah.
They told Coach Bick, don't have your team on the field when they touch the rock and come down. It's very intimidating, a sea of orange and all that. And Bick's like, if it's that cool, I want to see it.
Yeah.
And that's who we were. We show up. Strahan's like grabbing bags of grass, like baggies, and putting the grass, saying, I played at Clemson, and put that on the shelf. That type of stuff. But then we played. We didn't know we weren't supposed to be on the field with guys like the Fridge and all these first-round draft choice guys.
How was it having Coughlin as a QB coach?
It was, and I go to his.
You said
golf,
you already referenced.
Yeah, I go to his golf tournament every year, and he and I still talk about the.
Are you taking the new Gen X when you're there? Because I see you in the commercial.
That thing off the
New Gen X, Total T.
Hey, is that Doug Flutie?
I was
That's
the
Frank
most.
Thomas.
I was Tom Brady during the years that I had Tom Coughlin. I was the most disciplined I'd ever been. I got my best grades. I was a Rhodes Scholar candidate. I was a finalist for a Rhodes Scholar. I got more out of myself because of his discipline in me. And he taught me more football than any other football coach. Then on game day, I had Coach Bick, so I was relaxed and went out and just balled and played. But to this day, we ran a whirly bird option, like trap option, come down the line. I can still do the footwork because he ingrained it into my head. 5 minutes every day doing that stupid footwork. Yeah. And he was meticulous, and he was what I needed as a college kid. Coughlin was the best thing that ever happened to me and gave me the chance to do what I did.
Nah, yeah, I almost signed with him. In 2013, I was a free agent.
Where was he, Giants?
He was with the Giants. He was the head coach of the Giants. Yeah. And I sat in his office with his little red cheeks. And you guys got some red cheeks.
Yeah. Well, when I signed with you guys in 2005, I almost signed with the Giants to go with Coughlin because Coughlin was the head coach and the offensive coordinator was John Huffnagel, who was my coordinator in Calgary.
But you could just tell that, him and Bill came from that same kind of tree from the Parcell thing. You could just tell he was a tough dude, and he ran his ship
tight.
Very tight.
All my classes had to be in the morning, done before noon. Go grab lunch. I'll meet you here at 1:00. You're here. Now regular meetings didn't start till whenever, but I always met with him first. And it was that you better be early. And the book is open. You're ready to take notes. Feet flat on the floor. No elbows on the table. All that stuff. No hats in the meeting room. Just regiment. And he built discipline in me.
Jeez.
What do you think about the Billy O'Brien era of BC football now?
I saw Billy last night. I'm excited for him. I don't know why the hell anybody would take a college coaching job anymore. It's all just a game changer. Everything's different. You're going to have these kids and develop them. You got a spring to develop these kids because they're going to play in the fall and then they're going to leave you next year. I love BC. I love the football. I'd love to see them. There's no reason why they can't be competitive football-wise in the ACC. Basketball is another question, but I just think we should be in the mix. There's Clemson, maybe Florida State talent-wise, and then everybody else. And we should be the top of everybody else and giving them a run for their money.
I mean, you got to recruit your own goddamn players.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Every year.
Every year.
That's free agency every year.
And high school transfer portal, your own team.
I just talked about all these guys, and I could tell you all kinds of stuff. The bond that I had with my BC guys, 4 years together, and we still see each other. We're in text change and email. These kids aren't going to have that.
No.
They're going to a school about the money, not about the school, not about the coach. About the money. They play for a year, and if they're not the guy, if they're not doing what they hope they could do, they're gone. Then if they do what they hope they could do, they're still looking for more money out of someone else. So that's all out the window.
I was thinking about it. Like, I went to Kent State my first year. We balled out. We had like a historic year for the school. If it was this time, I would have went to Oregon right after.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
Well, that's how
you get a lot more money. You're going to get to play in the West Cup. You know what I mean?
Well, like Kent State, Boston College, Wake Forest, those types of schools.
First off, don't put us in that category. we're a step or two below, but I appreciate
the
it.
point is that those type of schools take a risk on a guy that they see talent in and develop them. And maybe by their junior, senior year, they're studs. But maybe the sophomore year, they help them. Junior year, they're playing. But if you get to that point, they leave.
Yeah.
Once you develop them, they're leaving now.
Yeah.
So there's just no way to get it done.
Ridiculous.
Jack, why don't you give us the game lead up?
Let's get into this lead up of this game. As Doug mentioned earlier,
Oh.
this was a day after Thanksgiving Day game, that prime 2:30 spot. Brent Musburger on the call. This is vintage college football. This is good stuff. Miami entered 8-3, as we said earlier, ranked number 12. BC 7-2, 10th ranked team. BC had already accepted the Cotton Bowl invitation. So as Doug said earlier, this was playing for pride. And don't forget, they had Holy Cross the next week too. So can't
we
look
had
past
it,
the Crusaders, baby. And it was Miami, 6-point favorite in this one. If we're talking betting lines, shout out Michael Jordan. And Miami is coming off a crazy loss to Maryland the week before. Frank Reich, they're up 31-0 at halftime. Frank Reich, we know Frank Reich these days.
This guy
storms
just
back and beats them.
They beat him.
Beat them. So
Frank
they're kind of
Reich.
reeling, probably pissed. Really wanting to get a dub out there.
Picture this. Okay, Miami, top 12 team.
Right.
Up 31-0, wind up losing to Maryland.
Insane.
Insane. Play us, lose on the Hail Mary at the end of the game. Go to their bowl game and play Ohio State, who kicks a 55-yard. Ohio State, I believe it was Ohio State. 55-yard field goal on the last play of the game to beat them. Their last 3 games.
What?
Jimmy Johnson's like, I'm done. I quit.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Jimmy just went and got better players.
Oh, jeez.
Hair's still
He was
looking
on
good,
that
though.
NIL deal early.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
my God.
Yeah, what a crazy way to end the season. My God.
That's nuts.
But getting into this game, it was a windy, misty, foggy day down at the old Orange Bowl. Started out, it was a track meet from the jump. 14-0 BC gets up. Then Miami storms back, ties it up 14-14. Doug, at what point were you just like, oh shit, just give us the ball back every time?
Well, it felt like a practice. Like you were just completing passes, dropping back and throwing. Right? And in the third quarter, we actually punted. And we had to kick a field. We punted once and we kicked a field goal. And I thought that's where
Game over.
Game over. And like I said, the difference was we had a pick, at least one. Bill Romanowski picked them off over the middle. And it was a stop. And that got us back into that they score, we score thing. And we got back into that rhythm. But I went over to Coach Bick. They had 3rd and 21. They had a penalty with 3.5 minutes to go. They had a penalty and were on their own 5-yard line-ish. And Brady, we almost sacked him for a safety. He gets out, he dumps it to the back. He gets 20 yards, and then on 4th and short, they get the first down. There's still a minute and a half. There's still 2 minutes on the clock. I go to Coach Bick. I go, let him score. Just let him fucking score so we can get the ball back with enough time.
Yeah.
And they milked the clock, walked it down, and scored with 28 seconds. It's like, yeah, right, 28 seconds. What are we going to do with that?
And then we get down to that play that we all know.
Yeah.
Down to the Miami 48.
When we got the ball, my mentality was we've got 3 or 4 plays here. Let's get the ball to midfield. Just make sure we get to midfield. We'll take a couple shots. We had 2 timeouts. College football, the clock stops after first down.
That's right.
So we get a first down on the first one on a seam route. We get a first down on the second one out of bounds. And I'm like, we're already across midfield. We still got 2 timeouts. So there's one play was an incompletion. I never used the timeouts. We still had 2 in our pocket. And
Are you calling timeouts? You're dropping them?
Yeah, that's another thing. We call them on the field.
Yeah.
But we were really good at 2 minute in college. Colleges, they waste more time, looking to the sideline, getting the play and all that. I mean, I was just calling my own plays. So we get it. We line up in a hurry. I get the play called. I'm ready to snap the ball before the official. And then on the whistle, boom, he snaps the ball.
Yeah.
We didn't waste time. Maybe we lost a second and a half, but we were good at not wasting time on our 2 minute and didn't have to use the timeouts.
So you didn't have to use the timeouts, and it goes into the last play. Now, what's your mindset? Can you take us beat for beat with that?
My mindset is I was hoping to get a little closer. Didn't happen in completion. 6 seconds. Okay, it's time for a Hail Mary. I'm getting in the huddle to call the play, and they're running a freshman on the field with the play. Like I got to freaking listen to the It's like Sean Dombrowski, freshman. Dumbo was his nickname. They want him on the field because he can jump.
Yeah.
It's not going to be. It's like you're a freshman, sit down. I'm waving him off the field because I want Troy Stratford. He was a fifth-year senior. I wanted Troy on the field for the play and him be one of the receivers. He was a running back, but I wanted him in the mix. Little did I know, Troy had a pulled hamstring. He never gets down the field on the play. So Troy starts to jog off the field. I'm yelling at Troy to get his ass back here and Dumbo off the field. So the freshman doesn't, he's like, I'm listening to Doug and I'm off the field. Troy comes back to the huddle. The bench sends Sean back. I'm like, no, sit down. So we get the play called. We go to the line of scrimmage. And there's an inadvertent whistle and a flag. And the defenders were on Gerard and on Troy, leaving Kelvin Martin, the outside receiver, to be the free runner to get down there first. And after the inadvertent whistle, we line up again. Now I tell the tight end, go down the backside. And my philosophy is buy as much time as possible, make it a jump ball. But back then, everybody dropped back, throw it. The receivers are still trying to get there.
You gotta buy time to get your
time.
Get your guys down there.
Last second, the defender decides, you know what? This is the guy with speed. I'm going to go jam him. He walks off Gerard, goes to the outside defender, allowing Gerard to be the first guy down. Now, Gerard, they did an ISO on the replay. He looks like he's running a 5.4 40. I mean, we're on a wet, he's just chugging down the field with his head down. And when I rolled right, the defenders sat flat and let Gerard go right by him. He's deeper than the deepest and turning around and seeing the ball thrown. But then when I pulled up, it kind of like a javelin, on the move, threw it and got it there. I was going to look backside, but a linebacker was running at me, so I didn't have time to look backside. I get outside. I just let it launch to an area. I see the two defenders go up and everybody just fall to the ground. And there's a half-second delay, and I see an official's arms. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. I start laughing my ass off and start running towards the pile. And I never got down there. There's a great picture of Steve Trapillo with me in his arms. I guess I jumped into his
jumped
arm.
up. And we all saw your little, you got hairy little stomach there, Bubs.
Yeah, great. And then there's a better picture that I love of me and my brother's arms from the back of him with Flutie on his jersey and me with my arm in the air too. That was a cool pic. Man. But everything settled down. Starting towards the locker room. I didn't know who caught it.
Yeah.
I assumed Gerard caught it. I didn't know. I ran into our strong safety, Dave Pereira. I said, who caught the ball? Oh, Gerard caught it. Da 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 da.
Now, was there a roommate chemistry?
Oh, no doubt. That's why Randy was talking about putting his locker next to Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's Gerard and I.
Finish each other's sentences.
Yeah. 4 years together, roommates the whole time, all that kind of stuff. And talking at lunch, and that's where you build the rapport and you understand what the other guy's thinking.
Yeah.
And it's not like you intentionally are having lunch together to talk about football. You just talk about at dinner, talk about practice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a cool route. I like, we should do this, we should do that. What about this?
Subconsciously.
Yeah.
You guys, when you know each other, I mean,
there's a trust that built. You knew in those situations who to lean on. And Gerard was always that guy in college. Eric Molds was that guy for me in Buffalo. Tim DeWhite, who's a good friend. Tim was that guy for me in San Diego.
Yeah.
That's why boy, he could run. He just got his hip replaced too.
Did he?
He's running again, man. He's so fired up. He's jacked. Like he's got a little bit of, looks like he might have a belly. It's all abs. He's like, he could be a boxer. He
was lightning.
Yep.
Now, how does it feel to have probably the most iconic play in college football history?
You know what I say? I say most of us are forgotten. Even if you win the Heisman or whatever, people forget.
Never forgotten. Keep going.
At least I have a play people remember. And it comes up all the time. And they all have their memory of, we turned the TV off and went home and found out on the news. Back when you didn't have your phone, you had to wait till the 11 o'clock news to see the highlight, right? So many stories about where they were. Who NFL guys were. It was a Friday afternoon, and all the NFL guys that I ran into later said they were in the locker rooms after practice watching the end of the game.
Yeah.
And, so you get all the stories of where everybody was, what they did. I know where I was.
And you've got a hell of a lot more.
See, I didn't know. We didn't realize it was that big a deal. It was a big deal to us. We just won a big game. We land now. Boston. We talked about it. Boston is not a college sports town. It's
pro sport. It's pro sport, baby.
We landed Logan Airport, and there's like 10,000 people, And they had Gerard and I, they pulled us aside. We go into it, like everybody's going to the team bus, and they shoved us into a cruiser and get the hell out of there. And it was like Beatles stuff. It was like, that didn't happen in Boston.
No,
for
not
college sports.
Not for college.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you guys go out and have probably the most impossible play, literally, we're still, this is 35 years after, and we're still talking about this play. I mean, that's so cool. That's such an insane.
You know, you have all those moments in your head of big plays that helped you win the Super Bowl, the play that was a pivotal play, and we all know those plays for ourselves game to game. But this is one that everybody saw and everybody remembered. So it's a pretty cool thing to have. Like
What's that mean to you though? Like that's got to be one of your. Is this your proudest moment?
You know, I don't know.
Or was it the Grey Cups?
I always go to we won my first championship, my first ring was a Grey Cup. I was playing in Calgary, and we had to go 88 yards with a minute on the clock, no timeouts, into a 35-mile-an-hour wind. And we went the length of the field, and I run it in for the score. That's my go-to, because that was not a Grey Cup game. That was the AFC, NFC championship game to get to the Grey Cup. And then I won my first championship in the Grey Cup. So that to me was maybe the most important, but this is obviously the most talked about.
Man, that's amazing.
Still to this day.
What's the aftermath, Jack?
Miami goes down in the Orange Bowl. BC.
Oh, it was UCLA, not a...
Yep. So my bad. We got that one.
UCLA hit a 55-yard field goal on the last play to beat them.
Not Ohio State. Sorry about that.
UCLA.
BC comes out victorious, 47-45.
One of my worst games ever was that Holy Cross game the following week. We won big. It was Holy Cross.
Trap game.
My little brother had a hell of a day. He had a couple touchdowns and catches and a great run. But yeah, I played like crap.
Can you imagine playing with you're the Heisman Trophy and you're throwing touchdowns to your bro?
It was the last regular season game.
Cool.
That's
He was
fucking cool.
He was a freshman that went in on rundowns and blocked and came out. And he had maybe 12 to 15 catches that year, a couple of catches here and there. And that Holy Cross game, he had his first touchdown. It was a cover 2, and we had a deuce formation, 2 tight ends, 2 flankers. He was a flanker out to the right. And we had a run play called. I saw cover 2. I checked to 3 verticals. And I went play. I don't even know if it was play action. Drop back. I looked at safety in the middle. He was a walk in to Darren down the rail. I didn't even realize he was in the game. Thank God I would have overthrown him or something. If I knew I would have screwed it up. So I turned, and that was pretty cool. But we get the ball back, come back, and he runs a little trap. 2 guys in the hole, bounces off him, spins, goes like 20 yards for a touchdown. And I was like, that was cool because he earned that one. Like I did kind of the work on the first one.
Yeah.
But he got it was cool for him to be a part of that senior year for me. He left Boston College as the all-time leading receiver.
Wow.
And then signed as a free agent, played 3 years in the NFL, was a Hall of Famer in Canada.
Didn't you guys have, there was a Flutie that played on our team. Was it his son? Or wasn't there?
At BC?
No, but for the Patriots for a second, like came into our camp. Wasn't there a?
I doubt it, but Billy, my nephews, my brother Bill's boys, Billy played at Boston College. My other nephew, Troy, Darren's son, played at Boston College.
Yeah, that's what didn't he have a big play or so? Didn't one of the Flutie? I just remember when I was playing here, there was a young Flutie.
Yeah,
that had a big play.
Well, Billy had a play where they beat Virginia Tech on a fake field goal, and he threw a touchdown pass.
Yeah. He went to VT.
He had a big touchdown pass.
That's what it was.
And then Troy, as a freshman, got a chance to play and start and played well for a few weeks. And then he got intimidated a little bit by the situation and the coach and all that, and didn't play well for a while and never got another shot. But had a couple nephews.
Still a lot of flutes though everywhere.
That's right.
A lot of flutes. Keep it going, Jack.
That's right. BC would go on to beat Houston in the Cotton Bowl, as we mentioned. Finished 10-2, number 4 in the nation. And Doug landed on the cover of Sports Illustrated after this one.
Sports Illustrated.
Cool. Back when it was Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
It was pretty darn
Wasn't
cool.
even his coolest thing. He got Flutie Flakes right.
That's right. Way cooler.
What was the origin of the Flutie Flakes? How did that come along?
Well, I had left the CFL. I signed with Buffalo. And during the offseason, training, mini camps, whatever, I signed a deal with PLB Sports to do some type of endorsement. We hadn't decided on what kind of food. They asked me for frozen food, and I'm like, frozen pizza. I'm a pizza guy. Let's go frozen pizza. They come back to me with, well, the profit margin's better on a breakfast cereal. I go, why'd you ask me? So then they asked me a favor. I was like, Frosted Flakes guy, let's do a flake. Yeah, sure. We do. It's supposed to come out during beginning of the season training camp. Well, everything got pushed back, delayed. It didn't happen. And the timing happened to work out perfectly with when I took over as a starter. It finally came out. It was like Flutie Mania in Buffalo. It was nuts. I had scheduled a autograph signing in Rochester at a home quarters, like a Home Depot, right? During the, early on, before I was playing a lot. Well, now it was the height. I was playing, the Flutie Flakes were out. It was supposed to be 7 to 9 that night on a Tuesday. People were showing up at the store at noon. They had to close they had 2,500 people in the store by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I had to close the doors and not allow. I went to sign. I got there an hour early. I signed from 6 o'clock to 10:30.
Oh my God.
And did not get through half of the people. It was a zoo. It was just the whole thing just blew up and became a big deal. And the Flutie Flakes was all about
iconic.
the foundation.
It was a big thing. I mean, when you went and took the store, I remember that. I mean, I liked you more when you were a Charger. But.
Let's name this.
Let's name this game. So this is a segment where we name the game, we score the game. What do you think we should give the name of this game? The Hail Flutie, the Hail Mary game, the Miracle Miami, the Miami Miracle, or something that comes to your mind? What should we name this game?
I think the Miracle in Miami was the one that stuck and fits. That fits. The Hail Mary game could have been Aaron Rodgers any week of the season. Hail Flutie is a little presumptuous.
But that's what the internet likes to call it. That's the best Google.
The
Just
Hail Mary
saying.
game. Oh, really?
Yeah.
But
That's cool.
this is his
Miracle in Miami.
Miracle in Miami.
There's been quite a lot of miracles in Miami, too.
I know we got smoked on the last play of the game when we had Gronk in there for the Hail Mary, and then they didn't.
Oh
throw the
my
Hail Mary.
God.
Still too soon.
Let's score this
Let's
thing.
score the game. Is this the greatest game of all time? Let's score it. Stakes 1 to 10. Decimals okay on this game. The stakes of this game.
It's a high nines. Oh, the stakes in the game.
Stakes.
The stakes, it meant nothing. It was bragging rights. It was because the week before,
Cotton Bowl.
we took the Cotton Bowl bid because they wanted a New Year's Day bid. They wanted a winner goes to the Sugar, loser to the Fiesta. And the Fiesta was not a New Year's Day bowl at that time.
Yeah.
And our administration didn't want to take a chance. They didn't trust us. They didn't want to. We could have played for a national championship if we went to Sugar Bowl. But we took the bird in hand. So the stakes were 5.
Crazy how the bowls worked back then.
Jules?
Stakes. I mean, he's got a Heisman Trophy going.
Underdog stuff happening.
There's a lot of.
too.
I mean, this is still Miami versus BC, David versus Goliath. I'm gonna go with a 7.
Okay.
Jack did a 7.4. I did a 7.8.
It's an integrity score by Doug.
Integrity score.
It's an integrity score. Star power 0 to 10.
Oh,
Decimals
this
okay.
was 9, primarily because of all their studs, and then I was the front runner for the Heisman at the time.
Vinny Testaverde was a backup quarterback.
And he was on the bench.
You got Vinny
Vinny was on the
Testaverde.
bench.
You got Bernie Kosar. You got Doug Flutie, Heisman Trophy winner. You got Tom Coughlin.
Jimmy
He was
Johnson.
gone, I think, at this point.
Tom
Coughlin.
was gone, but you had Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna go 8.5.
I liked it.
Jack did
Gameplay.
5.9. I did 7.3.
Man, I was a Russian judge there. Sorry. What am I thinking?
Gameplay. Come on. This is an all-time
Gameplay.
gameplay
This is
game.
great.
Unless you're a defensive coach.
For me, it was one of my most polished games. There's like 3 throws I wish I had back in the third quarter.
Started out like 9. You started out 12
11
or
of
12.
11.
Yeah, 11.
And I can't do that in practice.
Yeah.
I was not a high percentage guy. I was a wheel and deal, throw it up the field, that's make big plays
Yeah.
guy. So my completion percentage, that's why I started running shovel passes up in Canada to keep my keep that completion
Gotta do what you
percentage
gotta
under
do.
65.
Those high percentage throws.
Gameplay, both offenses were amazing. The defenses, not that they played poorly, they just weren't. I got to go like 8-5, 9, somewhere, 8-5.
High scoring for me. It was fun. The Hail Mary at the end. I mean, that's a 9. I mean, you guys, no one stopped anyone. This was basically what we all wanted in the future.
Jack had a 7.8, which
way
I
the game
think
went.
we're going to need to get some eyes check on Jack. Kyler had a 9.5.
There were a
on
couple
this
of
one.
punts in the game.
Name of the game. You got to score the name. Miracle in Miami.
Cultural relevance.
The cultural
We're talking about it
relevance.
40 years later.
We're still talking about it.
I always refer to it as the Miracle in Miami because I think that was the headline on Sports Illustrated. So I've always labeled it as that. I'll go with Miracle in Miami.
So what's the score of the Miracle in Miami? You got to score the name.
Oh, score the name.
You got to score the name, Doug.
7.5.
7.5. I'm gonna go 8.4.
Jack has a 9.1. I have a 9.7.
All right.
Where does it go? 7.96. What does that lead in the
way
scoreboard?
Jimmy's
low.
heartbreak would be a fun one, or Bernie's heartbreak.
That's
go the other
Heartbreak at Bernie's.
Bernie's
Weekend at
heartburn.
That's
That-
right above Game 5 of the 2005 NBA Finals, Spurs versus Pistons, and right below Super Bowl 53 Patriots Rams. This one's way too low. This is going to be a game that needs to be rescored at some point in the next.
What do we got? What is this? Our top game?
These are all the games
These
that
are
we
games
scored
we've
and
done.
rated, and the game fits in
We had Big Shot Rob
23rd.
for that 2005. The Rams, who did we have?
Slater.
Slate.
Yep.
Matthews later.
This is a way better
Yeah.
game than that. This is crazy. Whatever. This should be a top 5 game.
Amen. Amen.
Doug, did we miss anything about this game or this season or Boston College?
Probably not. We just raked it over the coals, but we beat Alabama at the beginning of that year that kicked off the season. We were down 31-14. Kerry Good had just returned the opening kickoff of the second half. He was a stud. Went 100 and whatever yards. And we're down 31-14 at Alabama.
Oof.
And we came back to win that. And Tony Thurman had a couple big interceptions. I think he had 3 interceptions in that game. And that was the game that made the season possible.
And that's low key the game that helped you win the Heisman as well.
That was like early in the year, high profile, nationally televised when things weren't nationally televised. And coming off my junior year, that put me as the front runner early in the year.
Man, you want to plug anything?
Just our foundation, Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation for Autism. We have an event coming up in August. That is going to be my life's work. You know, I thought I played football a long time. I've already had the foundation for 25 years. And it's really cool to see the difference we're making and helping people and building facilities and building opportunities for kids with autism.
You know, that was the first time Doug and I ever got to meet. I was a huge childhood fan. I was so fanatic of Doug Flutie. I was a 5'10", 5'9" quarterback. He was my like god.
And I disappointed him.
Never. You gave me the invite. I think it was
Basketball game.
No, it was a Hard Rock Cafe.
Oh, the Hard Rock Cafe thing.
Yeah, we did the Hard Rock
Yeah.
Cafe. I got to meet you there, and it was for the Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation, and it's impressive to see where you give your time. You know, we all talk about how great he was on the field in college with the Grey Cups as a professional in the NFL, but to see your life work and where you put your heart and your time with your Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation. It's
I remember
amazing.
to this day, and I'm very thankful that, you know, I put that early on in his career. He was there, you know, supporting me and supporting us and being there. That was really cool, and I remember that, no doubt. That, and I remember the basketball game we played somewhere out in Worcester or whatever, and you came out for it. It was
How terrible was the basketball game that I played in?
that was a terrible bet. we had like celebrities versus.
Cops or something?
No, it was like a Harlem Globetrotters type team.
Yeah.
And we want to be competitive, and they want to do their tricks. So it's like, but it went well. It went well.
Man, Doug, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to come on my podcast. I mean, you're such a huge inspiration for me, for a lot of kids. But for me individually, man, I love you to death, and thank you for coming on Games and Names.
You're amazing.
Thank you, Doug.
Phenomenal.
Fucking my guy. Well, that was awesome to have Mr. Boston in Boston.
Doug Flutie's so cool.
Man, that's like an episode. When you're pitching Games with Names, that's a Games with Names episode.
That
baby.
is a Games
the
with Names.
Hail Mary.
I mean, old Flute's just rolling around in a kayak during a flood. Or a canoe.
Looking
What
like
is it?
Sean Penn down in Hurricane Katrina down there, saving lives, paddling through the water, getting a workout in, Natick High School sweatshirt on,
Yeah.
everywhere, bro.
I mean, he still has that competitive edge, that competitive fire.
I almost fell out of my chair when he's talking about dropping 30 on a Carnival cruise ship, playing pickup with 19-year-olds, like backing them down, crafty old veteran basketball moves. Incredible.
flutes.
He played with Jordan.
He played with
game
the
in-
pickup
in
game with
Chicago?
Jordan.
It's wild.
Where did that one need some? More unearthing. Oh my god.
We need to do a games with names on that.
We need to do
Pickup
a game with names on
basketball.
that. I need some footage. I need security cameras, pics, whatever I can get. That's incredible.
We got to get him back on. We got to do like a Grey Cup for our Canadian friends.
We do.
I'm down, bro.
I mean,
CFL needs love too.
he was legit one of my heroes.
I don't blame you, man.
You know, and then he exceeds. They always say you never want to meet your hero. Well, nah. You can meet your hero and it's Flutes because he's just a great dude.
Heart over height all day, baby.
Rolls up. What was on his his request? Starburst.
Oh, Starburst, 5 hour energy drink,
Coca-Cola.
and Cokes.
And a Coke.
I love it, baby.
And he still looks great.
He was telling us, he said a handful of Starbursts get him right.
He's the best.
No
He's the best.
Advil, no nothing, just a handful of Starbursts.
Hey, he goes, if my energy was down, I just need a Starburst.
What's funny, we were at a bar the other day and like the new Gen X commercial came up. It's like, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Now I got to get Frank Thomas on.
Secret ingredient in Nugenix? Starburst.
Starburst.
Ground up Starburst in a capsule.
In honor of Doug Flutie's legendary Hail Mary, we're going to rank some of the best Hail Marys of all time.
Oh.
We'll come to a consensus of our top 5. What are they?
This is tough. Let's get into them here. You want to, should we read through them real quick first?
Let's read through them.
Yeah.
All right. So first, of course, the BC, Doug Flutie to his roommate, Gerard Phelan, versus Miami. We talked about that one. Got to put that in the list.
He always kept him the first name basis too. Gerard.
Also,
big wham guy.
Do you buy, we got to look at the tape again, but do you buy that the guy was open?
He texted me. I forgot.
Oh, the all
Yeah.
all
He
22?
texted me a
Yeah.
picture of it.
Okay, well, we'll put that on
All
the
right,
show.
we'll put that on the show because I had never heard that one before.
Because I feel like a guy like that, he always has to talk about that play. He's got to like come up with some little like wrinkle or fun little inside thing. That,
He texted me a picture. He go, it's a picture of the film, and it's zoomed into the guy.
Is the play as memorable if he just hits that wide open guy and he walks in?
No.
No.
yeah, but maybe. Never mind, go.
Bands on the field. All right.
The band is on the field. We got Russell Wilson, the Golden Tate versus Green Bay. That was back on September 24th of 2012.
I remember that.
This one was a little bit more infamous than famous.
That's the fail Mary, right?
I believe so.
Why?
Yes.
Why is it the
Let's
fail
throw it up.
Mary?
Let's throw it up real quick.
Because it shouldn't have been.
It should
It
not have.
should not have been a catch.
But
What do you mean? Why not? I remember this, but I don't remember this.
This was fake refs.
yeah, I remember this. Okay, this is the right one.
Oh, this was refs on strike year.
Yep. All right, so we got that one on the list. Next,
Crazy.
Which, by the way,
Against the Packers, and didn't the Packers have one?
Then we also we've included Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers to Jeff Janis against the Cardinals, January 16th, 2016. This is an NFC divisional round game,
That is.
which is wild.
that's still the game they lost when Larry Fitzgerald had that crazy play at the end, correct?
Yes, this was to tie it.
Yeah, and then in OT, Larry Fitzgerald had that crazy play. Yeah,
That's a crazy.
that's a great game. We should do that game at some point.
I'm down. Get Larry
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Get Larry on. Then we're staying in Arizona. Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins versus Buffalo, November 15th, 2020, also known as the Hail Murray. Crazy one.
That was a great. I remember that one.
Rolls out, lets that thing fly. Moving to the college
Well,
game.
before we move on from Kyler Murray, as a Kyler myself, I've never met any other Kylers in the world. And so I've always like, whenever I meet a Kyler, it'll be like a moment. And the first Kyler I met was Kyler Murray. And I can't stress enough how little he cared.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, I hate to see it.
You hate to see it, man.
Old Kyler.
Then we're moving to the college game. This is the 1980 Holiday Bowl. BYU, SMU. BYU came back from 45-25 down with 3 minutes and 57 seconds left in the game. This is a crazy one. The Holiday Bowl comeback. Maybe for all you Mormon fans out there, we do this game at some point.
Yeah.
Was that
Or
Steve-
should I
was
say
that-
LDS members? LDS
Is that
members.
Steve Young?
What's an LDS member?
Latter-day
Latter-day
Saints.
Saints.
We got a lot of Latter-day Saints people
shout
in my
out.
life.
Do you really?
Yeah, Agent
Oh, tight.
Carter Chow, shout out. One of
Shout
the-
out. I didn't know that.
Alex Guerrero, shout out.
Really?
I did not know.
Yeah.
This was Jim McMahon, by the way.
Jim McMahon.
Jim McMahon.
Another
Forgot
great
when they were
QB.
QBU. Yeah.
Wow.
QBU. Then we're back to Aaron Rodgers, man, Mr. Hail Mary himself. The Miracle in Motown versus the Lions. This was on an untimed down. Another crazy one. And then back to the college game. We have LSU versus Kentucky. Marcus Randall to Devery Henderson, the Bluegrass Miracle. This game has been requested. 74-yarder as time expires.
What year?
This was 2002, I believe.
Nick Saban was
Nick Saban,
And
LSU.
you know who the quarterback was for Kentucky? Jared Lorenzo.
The big guy?
Pillsbury throw boy,
22.
baby.
He played for the
Right.
Giants for a while.
Yeah.
He sure
oh,
did.
I loved him. As a
He was
fat
so
kid
large.
in the early 2000s. Oh, he was my
How much
hero.
did he weigh? Like 270?
And then when he was in the Arena League, he got.
Why?
He just did. He just got.
He played at like 285.
Dang.
If Doug Flutie to you was like Jared Lorenzen to me.
He was
Fat guy
6'4", though.
outdoing
I thought he was shorter.
No, he's a big guy.
Yeah. I was thinking he was like 6'1".
He had a cannon.
Cannon for an arm. Do we want to, how do we want to do this? We want to watch a couple of these? Do we want to just
Let's
rank them off
now
top
we got
here?
this. We got this.
All right, what are we thinking? We already saw the fake one. Is that making the top 5?
The infamous?
Yeah.
No.
No.
It was
Because
bad.
it shouldn't count.
It wasn't
That
real.
one's done.
No.
That
Fake
one's
refs,
done.
fake
Fake
Hail Mary.
refs, fake news.
Fake news. I think you got.
So what's 5 first? We got 5.
We'll go 5. We'll start at 5.
What are you thinking, Jackie?
I think Rogers has got to be in here at some point. I think. I kind of feel like putting one of the Rogers ones down here.
For being a guy that probably is removed as ever from like religion and like he's like probably a science guy.
Right.
This guy has the most Hail Marys.
Really.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
crazy. So he's got to
That's
be
funny.
in there.
That is funny.
It's the Mother Gaia.
Yeah. What the ayahuasca long? I don't know.
Which is cool.
Which is cool.
It
Yeah,
works.
dude, whatever.
Better float your
works.
boat.
So they lost this Green Bay game, right?
Yeah, they end up losing that one. So
Can't
that
be
was,
that one.
let's
So it's
pick
got to
the
be
one
the
that they won.
The one against the
Miracle
Lions,
America.
which
it has
I
a good
hate.
name, Miracle in Motown.
Yeah. This I feel bad because we're such a pro Lions podcast.
I know. We like MCDC. We like Calvin. We like Matthew.
We also just like the Motor City.
We do, baby.
You like Detroit pizza?
Detroit Pizza. Hate the turf though.
The turf is hated.
Hate it. You like the Ford Museum?
The largest museum. I think it's the large, or is it the Ford Museum? I think the Fords own it, but it's like the largest museum per capita in the world.
I
Like
still want to go.
it's amazing. All right, so that one's in.
All right, we'll put that at number 5.
4.
I feel like we got to.
The Kyler Murray one is a regular season game.
It is a regular season game, but it was very impressive. DeAndre, like, rarely do you see a Hail Mary where the guy pretty much goes up and high points it, which
Very true.
DeAndre did.
DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, after this, it just shot out. He had the best hands in the league.
Also, Hail Murray.
He does
is a
have really.
great name.
It is.
Hail Murray. We'll go through 4, 3.
So what do we got left? We've got BC, we've got the BYU in the Holiday Bowl, and we got the Bluegrass Miracle.
I'm partial. I love a good. I'm a sucker for some SEC ball, man. I kind of want to put that at 3,
I kind of think it could be 2.
maybe even 2.
Could
Honestly,
be 2.
it's got
That wasn't
those
that
tips
wasn't
in
the
it.
year LSU won the title, was it, with Nick Saban?
I
Or
don't
was
believe
it?
so?
I think we got to go with BYU SMU for 3 because they're both Christian schools. And this is a Christian play, kind of.
I love that.
I like that. Get your rosary beads out.
Holiday
I
Bowl,
don't think neither of those Christianities use rosary beads.
Catholics do.
but BC will.
I don't think SMU's.
Oh yeah, no.
they're like
no.
Protestant or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
big time. No, you're right.
The Holiday Bowl at 3.
Holiday Bowl at 3.
Now between the Bluegrass Miracle and the Hail Flutie, 1 or 2, or he calls it the Miracle in Miami.
I think you got to put that number 1. Flutie's got to be 1.
Flutie's one for
Flutie's
sure.
1. We're giving it to our. Can we go with give LSU number 2?
I think we may have to redo it
Yeah, we got there are a lot more in
because
here.
Aaron's got 2 Hail Marys, so he's got to be probably number 2.
I don't know if it showed up in here, but didn't he have a game where he had 2 Hail Marys in the same game?
Aaron Rodgers has like the craziest, like, he has crazy things about his career and like what his strengths are. Like, he's the best at using his cadence. We used to have a Green Bay cadence named after Aaron Rodgers where the guy jumps off sides, we snap it so you get the free play.
How many times does he get that?
A lot.
Yeah.
He practices his cadence game's probably is some of the best of all time. Great cadence game.
Double Hail Mary.
Yeah, it was in the same drive against Arizona Cardinals.
This is that Arizona Cardinals game that they lost.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah.
That is
Okay,
pretty
so
impressive.
Our top 5, Hail Flutie, the Bluegrass Miracle, the Holiday Bowl, BYU, SMU, Hail Murray, and then the Miracle in Mode Time. Please, audience, tell us why we're wrong. and
Amen.
what we left
Please.
out.
And Jules, can we do a quick? I don't know that we did it enough with Jules, but can you tell us by the book what you're supposed to be doing on the Hail Mary?
Well, I don't know. No, I do know.
Teaching wise, I know it's a free for all at some point.
You're trying to, for a last play of the game situation, you're trying to get as many guys as you can in the end zone.
Right.
And you create like a box or a triangle where there's someone in the middle who is trying to get up and high point the ball, like the example of DeAndre. Then you have either one or two guys, you have two guys in front of him, then you have a guy behind him that are trying to play the tips.
Okay.
You know, sometimes it's a box where you have, but it's hard getting all the guys down there. But that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get a box or a triangle with a guy in the middle so you can just try to play the best possible situation out. For deflex, the guy who's in the middle is trying to high point. If it doesn't, the other guys are trying to play ricochets.
That makes sense. This ain't Madden where you just click 4 verticals and scan the field, baby.
No, but-
there's some science to it.
There's also like the counter Hail Mary, which Doug was kind of saying, oh, we had the guy, the tight end on the backside where, you know, those three guys will be going up in one side. And I know this is a terrible podcasting, but, you know, you got three guys going here. And then the last second, one of the guys goes to the back end to try to create a one-on-one because they all know you're playing the box. So if you can get one guy, like we'd have a Gronk play where Gronk would go over there so you can get a matchup potentially one-on-one, 2-on-1 is better than having like 5 guys on 3 over here. So there's that as well. But Hail Mary by definition is everyone getting the end zone. Let's try to play it.
What was fun about this Bluegrass Miracle one is that they were like 15 yards short.
Yeah,
and
there
it
was
got
the tip.
tipped up.
Yeah, I
and the
remember
guy
that.
were like snuck through and like split the defenders. And
So
stuff.
that's a real Hail Mary.
That's
Yeah.
a great one.
That's
When you
number
have a tip
2?
involved.
That was number 2. That's
I
a good
mean,
one.
rightfully so.
Jules, did you ever attempt a Hail Mary at Kent State?
I don't think so.
I was gonna say I know the Kent State tape, but I don't remember any.
I never did. There's a couple at the end of games. I think I've been involved in an end of game one. Actually, no, because no.
I feel you.
I just feel like I have because we've practiced the situation a million times.
Situational football,
I'm
baby.
ready for it.
Yeah.
So the next time it happens, it's deja vu. Well, what a game. Thanks again to Doug. That's been another episode of Games with Names. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Comment a game you want us to do. And remember,
Rate and review.
so much better. So much better. Remember to follow Games with Names on YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Snapchat. Leave a message on the hotline at 424-291-2290. We'll see you guys next week. Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.